Switzerland's deliberately letting their currency go down in value. It will come back strongly. They can't continue to suppress its value so they can remain competitive with the Eurozone. Because, they're under the euro and the euro's dropping.
Right.
But I think probably temporarily the euro will base out at 120, and then probably before the year is out, it'll probably go 1-to-1, which is parity.
All right, now what? Now, listen, but the stuff with this Muslim immigration in Europe, too, that is in some parts of Europe, that is a real problem for all these, globalist,
terrible problem,
idiots. Yeah, it's making us a dump. I mean, you can look at Queens. Look at Brooklyn, look at L.A., look at Miami. I mean,
Henry, hang on a second. We've got a break. We'll be right back. 800-313-9443. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the flip side.
Clement, you on new bump music.
Robbie, when I sub for your show, I never know what I'm going to hear.
It's a lot of country, a lot of old stuff. A lot of memory stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Henry, you're mentioning Muslims all over Europe. Do you think maybe if we stop leveling cities and countries in the Middle East that we might not have a immigration problem?
Well, the only countries that I think the United States is leveling, and what they do with that, or what they're doing, reasons for that, it has to do with Israel and protecting that, like what that French guy said, that French diplomat of the UN. Everything that's going on today has to do with that essy little country called Israel. I call it SLC. Why should we have World War III over those people? Well, so this stuff with Iraq, especially Afghanistan, it has to do with drugs, too, with Afghanistan. But sure, most of that stuff has to do with using the American military, taking on Israel's so-called enemies. Meanwhile, their American soldiers come back blown up or hurt. Some of them come back in one piece, but there's some that do not, and come back to their own country that's looking more and more Hispanic and looking more like the third world. Meanwhile, Israel to stay all Jewish.
Yeah.
See, so that's but as far as Europe goes, no. I listen to the shortwave radio, and there's some countries that are not in Iraq or don't want to be in Iraq, or either have very minimum troop involvement. It's mostly a U.S. and British thing mainly. And a lot of what I hear is that some of the older ones who run the government there, in some parts, it's not all over Europe because there's not as many in Poland. It depends where, okay? Yeah, I think worst of it is France and England. And the Netherlands, too, is getting there. That's why there's a guy running for the Netherlands as president from the Freedom Party, and I heard him on Michael Savage. I have his address and everything. He's trying to put an end to that. And he's not a fascist either. He's just trying to put an end to that. But it's mostly these people trying to push this on the people, just like people pushing stuff on the people here. Okay. And some of it's illegal, too.
Yeah. Well... Yeah, what isn't illegal? By the way, and thanks for your call, Henry. I appreciate it. Bob and Robbie, they finally got around to admitting this, and I can't even remember how long ago we reported this. Apparently, and Robbie, you're worried about North Korea. The United States is not going to necessarily touch North Korea because they're kind of an all-in and go-for-broke kind of country. They've been teaching their children for decades and generations that the United States, they just want to occupy them like they did Germany, and they'll fight to the last man to see that doesn't happen. The real issue, I think, this is just another diversion on top of the creeping crud that we have in the Gulf. Not saying it's not a real problem, but it's deflecting attention away from the Middle East. And the plans are continuing. We're going to go in one way or another in Iran, sanctions and all this other stuff. Be damned. We're going to do this. And as a matter of fact, Petraeus, this even ended up in the New York Times. We reported on this a couple of years ago. A secret directive signed in last September by Petraeus, authorized the sending of American Special Operations troops to both friendly and hostile nations in the Middle East. And guess what one they're talking about? Iran. And Robbie, I don't see them doing much. They'll saber rattle like we did with Taiwan and China. But that's all we're going to do, because these people are not of the mindset to sit and play patty cake and have limited war and sit around and watch the United States turn North Korea into democracy. It ain't going to happen. The issue is still the Middle East. Our buds and pals over there is Israel, and their vision of peace by every Arab being dead. So.
Well, there's just, I mean, if you think back to all the events that have unfolded in the last month, nothing makes any sense. You've got, obviously, armaments that were, remember the ship that was supposed to be taking bunker busters to Israel was diverted to Diego Garcia. You've had, obviously, the sinking of the South Korean warship by North Korea. You've had, obviously, escalation in the Middle East with Iran. Obviously, new sanctions coming down. Conveniently, a huge oil rig blows up in the Gulf. First time that's happened in 40 years. And the world is broke, technically bankrupt. So, I don't know. These people are creating the perfect storm. I mean, I've forgotten who said it. I think it was White House Chief of Staff, Emmanuel, who said we've got to take advantage of chaos in order to implement our agenda.
Well, and they're creating the chaos so they can implement their needed change.
And then you add in the IMF, World Bank, World Currency, put the dots together.
All right, we'll continue with your calls. Everybody stay tuned, stay right where you're at. We'll take the short break and be back with your calls.
You're tuned in to the National Intel Report, the Real Talk Radio Show.
You know what I did notice, guys? The story that has dropped off, the edge of the earth is Haiti. Wasn't that a monumental disaster? And then the military was moving in there and a whole bunch of funny stuff was going on. And I was thinking about that today. Why is Haiti so damn poor and so broke? They're just about in the same geographic location. Dominican Republic grows sugar, so does Cuba. Cuba makes some mighty fine cigars. So what's the deal with Haiti? And then I started looking into it a little bit further. Guess what they got down there? They got a whole load of copper, and they got gold in them our island hills, along with marble and bauxite and some other stuff. So, they've got mineral, petroleum, and other resources of commercial importance. Why is Haiti so damn broke?
The thing that's ironic about Haiti is on the other side of the island, it looks like Scottsdale, Arizona.
You mean in Dominican?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they've got golf courses. PGA has a tour that goes through there.
Isn't it amazing in the same patchwork of land that you have the haves and never had. The one. It's just amazing to me that where they're such a friend to the United States, and we showed up in their time of need, and they're just going to be as broke and just as downtrodden as they were before that quake hit. And it doesn't have to be that way. George in Texas, you all right there, Bob?
I don't know why I'm coughing, but I am.
Well, I don't know either. George in Texas. Hello, George.
How you doing, John?
Hi.
Bob, you there?
No, I'm not here, but I am.
All right. Hey, Bob, I got a question for you. I've been sort of like thinking this out through my mind. In these primaries, you see a lot of these establishment incumbents being removed from office by anti-establishment Democrat and Republicans. This is where I think why the establishment is scared. Hillary Clinton has most of these people's FBI files that they can use to blackmail, and also too, back in the Nixon era, wasn't it true that that Congress told the Pentagon that you will not do any false flags or try to start any new wars when the Watergate scandal was breaking out? And you think all this possibly could coincide that they're looking back through history? If we get a new Congress with many Ron Paul, Rand Paul types, that the Congress can cut the purse strings and tell the Pentagon don't do this when if a scandal of the Barry Soetoro erupts and Barry Soetoro tries to start a war or something or pull a false flag to try to divert attention?